Good afternoon, world. It is moments past noon, almost right on it, in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. And today is the 23rd of October, our 102nd episode of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Waxahachie in the shadows of the historic Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co-host, Jeff Lynch, capable of manning the board, wearing his Alabama Crimson Tide and his Charlie Kirk hat is our man, Sam Brooks. And to my right, resplendent in baby blue, one of my wife's favorite colors on me, our man, Scott Brooks.
Good. I love good clothing. Good golf.
Good golf.
Yeah,
good golf.
golf friend. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday, so we're here noon to 1 o'clock, as you know, Tuesday and Thursday of every week. Next Tuesday to be me and Sammy doing the show. Jeffrey will be off doing what Jeffrey does. So we look forward to that. We got a whole lot to talk about today. Poor Sammy's not feeling very well. He's got something in his eye. He's got to go to the urgent care when we're done here. But dedication on behalf of Sammy for doing the show.
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited to watch Cooper Flag play, ready to watch that whole game.
It looks painful.
Right before tip-off, I'm doing something, and all of a sudden I can't see. So
Do you know for sure something's in it, or is it maybe a sty or an infection?
something's in it. It's
Okay.
stabbing me.
Okay. All
Stabbing
right.
you.
Yeah, it looks painful. But anyway, thank you for being here. We do Grit and Good News in a lot of different ways. Our content comes in print, audio, video. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if there's any other types of ways we could do it, but if you go to substack.com, which is the premier spot for folks like us in the world today, you go to Substack, substack.com, search Grit and Good News. You will find us there for $5 a month. You get a boatload of content delivered to your email inbox every Monday morning and Friday morning before you get up. So it'll be there waiting on you, and we opine and talk about a number of different things in the world, particularly in our country.
Opine is such a common crossword word.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it did work into my last Substack that just goes in for next Monday.
Yeah.
And I think we are, I'm not sure the exact number, but we're over 40 episodes in it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I think we're right at 40.
Yeah.
So you get a lot there, but for $5 a month, which we think hopefully is affordable, and we'd be honored to have you as a paid subscriber. We get subscribers pretty much every day, and we don't really market it, but we're just happy to do it, and we do it because we love it. Anyway, that said, today
don't forget to mention that when you subscribe, you'll get all those past ones.
You get the archive and all that stuff
going
back.
Scott makes the topic like 38 out of 40. I follow the topic. Every once in a while, I just say I can't write a poem about that. But the thing is, it's always timely stuff. But if you went back and looked at 40 episodes ago, you wouldn't say, well, that's old news.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff, what we write about usually remains, at least in parts
topical
of
more
the
than
discussion.
just timely, right?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's current things we like to bring up, but those remain pretty important going forward.
Amen.
That said, today is our what number? 102?
102.
102nd. So, Samuel, what do you got? We like to take our show episode number and say, okay, what prominent athletes that we would all know, or most of us would know, wore number 2 or wear number 2. So, Sammy, what do you got?
So I got the NBA, the NFL, and the MLB. So
let's hear it.
Start with the NBA. That NBA has the most. Start with Kawhi Leonard,
Okay.
Moses Malone,
Yes.
Alex English,
Yes.
John Wall,
Yes.
Joe Johnson,
Yes.
Kyrie Irving.
Although he doesn't wear it now.
No.
He wears 15.
Neither does Jason Kidd. He wore number 2 for a little bit with the Mavs. And then I got Mike Bibby.
Mike Bibby, yep.
So that's NBA.
Okay.
That's like that. That's the most. NFL until recently, 1s and 2s were worn by kickers and punters. So I got like 5. I'll do Matt Ryan.
Okay.
Probably my favorite quarterback. I grew up.
Matt Ryan, yeah.
I grew up loving that. And then we got this is current player Patrick Surtain. I think he might have went to Bama.
He did go to Bama.
Yeah, he's a great corner for the Broncos. We got Darius Slay. He was on the Eagles. I don't know where he went after
I'm not
that.
sure either.
Jalen Hurts in his rookie year wore number 2.
Yep.
And then this is just kind of
He wore 2 at Bama too.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of to mess with you. I put Johnny Manziel up there.
So, yeah, Johnny Manziel.
Well, and speaking of Broncos, we've got them this Sunday.
Yes, we do.
At the late game.
They're 5-2.
5-2, and they're coming off giving up 32 in the fourth quarter to lose the other day.
Is it prime time?
No, they won. The
Excuse- I
Broncos
mean,
won. Yeah, they
yeah.
scored 33
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter, which is incredible.
Is it
What were you
Sunday
saying?
Night Football?
No, it's it's at
3:25.
3:25. Sunday Night Football. Packers at Steelers.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. I'll end it off with MLB. Derek Jeter, obviously, probably the best 2 in MLB. Xander Bogaerts, I think he's current.
Yes.
Charlie Gehringer. You don't know that?
Not by the way you're saying it.
Gehringer. I don't know. Nelly Fox.
Yeah.
And then
Fox.
and
That's
then,
an old one.
Old Ernie Lombardi for the Reds. He wore number 2 for a little bit.
Yeah. 2 is a good baseball number. Kind of like
2's
4.
a good number in general.
2 is a good
and
number.
5.
It's a great hockey number for
Yeah.
for defensemen
Yeah, I didn't
only.
get there. So
So we've got this little fun with Sammy. Sammy struggles pronouncing words or names. Difficult names is not easy for Sammy. It's not easy for anybody really, but Sammy makes it fun because he comes up with a new way of saying it. So we are working on a brief segment for our show. Sammy Says, and so I've already got a list, Sam, this long of name. Matter of fact, the top of it is sports names hard to pronounce. And so we're going to have a little part of the show that says, all right, Sammy, tell us how you pronounce this guy's name. So looking
So
forward
you
to
would have
that.
been able to handle almost all the hockey ones. We open with Doug Harvey, widely considered the greatest defenseman of all time. 7 Norris trophies, which is the trophy for best defenseman, 10 All-Star game, and the last player to be a player coach
Mm.
in the league. And then the absolute greatness of Bobby Orr, who just turned around the whole game by saying, yes, defensemen can rush the pucks. Yes, defensemen can get inside the blue line. Yes, we can be a force. And he dominated. Then Eddie Shore from the Bruins, also great. Chris Chelios, most of his career split between Chicago and Detroit. Bob Gainey, a great
Dallas
player
guy.
for the Montreal Canadiens.
Didn't
And
he
then
have
he
something to do with
became the
Dallas?
general manager
Dallas.
of the Stars.
Yeah.
He wore 23 most of his career, but he did wear 2. And Brian Leach of the Islanders.
Yeah. Very good. All right. There you have it. More than you ever wanted to know.
Way more.
We got the Marine Ball. For those of you that live in Ellis County, Texas, right just south of Dallas, which is where we are. There is a Marine Ball, a big shindig. When I think of it, I think of Few Good Men. I don't know why, but they'll be decked out to the nines or whatever they'll be decked out. Let's put it that way. A real fancy affair, real important affair. That is on November the 10th. That is a Monday evening. So there are tickets still available. If you reach out to us, we'll help you find them, or you can just check out the pages of the Waxahachie Sun because we've been running some marketing stuff for them. I've already told you about Substack. All right, let's get into some Tarnations. Tarnations are, as Jed Clampett used to say on the Beverly Hillbillies, what in the tarnation's going on around here? So we've got our own form of tarnations, and that is the most absurd things that we read about on a given day. I've got a list of them. Let me go through them rather quickly. Jen Psaki, the redheaded former press secretary for good old Biden before Jean-Pierre, said the other day that Usha Vance, J.D. Vance's wife, she said this on air, is afraid of him, meaning that he's an abuser, that she's kind of kept captive. And because Psaki was saying, give us the 4 weeks, if you go by somebody on the interstate, by example, there are signs that the person in trouble can provide you that will tell you they are in trouble. One of them I saw on a video the other day where a lady was traveling and she was in the passenger seat and she was The driver couldn't see her hands, but she held up 4 on her hand like that, and the people watching her knew what that meant, that she was in trouble, followed the car, and ultimately the guy was arrested for kidnapping and abuse and all that sort of thing. But that's what Psaki, who I think's uh, as bad a press secretary as her successor, just taking a shot at the president's wife without any
Vice president's wife.
vice president's wife without any empirical proof of that at all.
Right, and she is so yesterday's news, and such a damning thing to say when you don't have anything concrete,
Yeah.
and it's almost like she uh, she is trying to become relevant again
Well,
by
I think
saying
so. She
this.
has a show on MSNBC, tells you most of what you want to know about her. But here's a quote: says, "I think the little Manchurian candidate J.D. Vance. First of all, that's about as demeaning as you can get. Wants to be president more than anything else. I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you okay? Please blink 4 times. We'll come over here. We'll save you." And that he's willing to do anything to get to the presidency. In your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways than in some ways, and he's young and ambitious and agile in the sense that he's a chameleon who makes himself whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. That is the opposite of the J.D. Vance that
Yeah,
is the Vice
yeah.
President of the United States. She says, "Usha Vance, please blink twice if you need help." And so she goes on with this little diatribe, and it's absurd. It's insulting. I think just take politics out of it. It's just insulting to say to somebody who's by all accounts has a wonderful relationship, a wonderful marriage, a wonderful family with children. She goes with him in a lot of places, and she plays a role in American politics and society. And here's a bitter, uh, my guess is, well, I'm not gonna say,
Well,
well,
what
a bitter lady taking a shot at him.
did Biden bounce her, or did she quit?
She quit.
She quit.
Yeah, she quit. He didn't. I don't think he bounced her.
Um,
So there you have it. It's a representation of what I think the liberal side of things has become. Um, GM has announced that it is about to roll out its first wave of AI technology in some of its vehicles. That includes things like being able to say to your car, "Okay, I'm done." I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, "I'm through driving. Take over." And AI will take over and drive it
but
for you.
that
AI
happens in other
technology.
cars already,
Yeah, I mean, you have self-driving vehicles, but it's not
but it's not
fluid,
GM.
and it's not yeah, it may not be GM, but it's also a way where this is new insofar as you're being able to tell your car mid travel what you want it to do. You can also say in this technology, uh, tell me how to get to the cleaners from where I am. And rather than having to put in a GPS system or what have you, or look at your dash, it'll just tell you, it'll give you the directions.
I can do
And
that in my Chrysler right now.
yeah, okay, good. But I don't know how you do it. But or you say, take me to, or tell me where the best 5 pizza places
Right.
are, and then you choose one and it'll tell you how to get there. I mean, it could drive you there.
Well, but the worst thing about that is, even though your voice commanding it, you are looking at the screen for your answers, and you're losing focus with the road.
Yeah.
That's the problem there.
This technology, I don't think causes you to do that. You hear it and it tells you. It's almost like somebody sitting in your passenger seat. Uh, what's it? John Fetterman. I always forget his first name. John Fetterman. We've talked about him before. He's gone from being what was, sadly, a caricature because of his stroke when he was running for the seat that he holds in the Senate. He ultimately won over Dr. Oz, and quite the surprise because Fetterman had so many difficulties just communicating, and so he won. He has proven to be maybe a Reagan Democrat, maybe even more leaning right than a Reagan Democrat would have leaned or did lean. So we have this guy on the left, and they've lost it. The left has lost it. I mean, the things we're going to talk about a little bit more of it here in a left, but get mad at me if you want to, but those of you on the left, your party's lost it. And we welcome you to conservative side of things, but it's outrageous what's going on. And Fetterman is saying, quit calling people Nazis. We talked about it the other day. We need to open the government up, stop playing this shutdown game. Schumer did it again yesterday for the 12th time. And so I suspect at some point it may be that Fetterman changes parties. We'll see how that happens, if it does, and what the impact will be. The Chicago teacher, Sammy showed us a video the other day of this rather call her everything but late to dinner. Let me put it that way. Out protesting No Kings, and she's doing this with her hand, mimicking what happened to Charlie Kirk, and she does it, more than once. So, and you can see her mouthing it in the neck, things like that. After 4 days post that happening, she's still employed by the Chicago School District. Matter of fact, the superintendent of that school district came out and was defending and protecting her, saying that her First Amendment rights are being infringed upon because of the responses she's getting, as opposed to saying, wait a minute, we can't have somebody making, I mean, you can do it, but does the Sound want to be represented by anybody that would make fun of somebody being murdered? Does any school district want people like that teaching our children? I mean, you would think at just a basic core level that you would say, no, we don't want anybody that has any thought relative to that teaching our children. But here it is, the superintendent protecting her big butt. And so when I talk about the left being crazy, that's an example of it. It just, where is the decency? Dallas Police Department Chief Como is his last name. He's rather new, I think months into the job, without any discussion with the mayor, without any discussion with council. Recently rejected a $25 million partnership offer with the federal government to address crime in Dallas. That is not going over very well at least with the mayor. I would imagine constituents and voters, residents. Certainly that wouldn't happen here in Waxahachie. I can assure you, we got one of the best police chiefs in the world. That crap wouldn't happen here, but we've got just 30 minutes north. We got a guy just saying we're not going to do it. And he made the decision unilaterally, which means he didn't talk to anybody about it. He to reject $25 million ICE grant. And the morning news says the Dallas leaders are at odds over whether to assist federal immigration authorities, with Mayor Eric Johnson sharply criticizing Dallas Police Chief Daniel Como his decision to reject a $25 million offer to partner with ICE. It's just, I mean, Como revealed last Tuesday, this is how he has declined a $25 million offer from the U.S. Immigration ICE in a stunning reversal from his previous pledge to strengthen cooperation with federal agencies. Como, who took over the Dallas Police Department in April, had initially signaled a break from his predecessor by suggesting he would shift from the city's sanctuary style policies and align more closely with the state's tougher stance on immigration. We were contacted by the federal government, I think it was last week or within the last 2 weeks, and we were offered $25 million to be part of 287G. And we said, absolutely no, that was me who said that, turned it down. End quote. That's what Como said. He said, no one is going to be wearing a Dallas Police Department uniform enforcing federal laws. It just won't happen. We as DPD are not doing any immigration enforcement. We don't have the authority to do that, and nor have we done that, or will we. Sounds a little bit cavalier to me. I happen to like cavalier people, but I mean, if you're going to be cavalier about the right things. So one more. Bad Bunny. What's up? Send me a song by Bad Bunny, Jeffrey.
Bad to the bone. Oh, no,
Bad
no,
Bunny.
I don't know anybody.
The Spanish-speaking entertainer.
Puerto Rican.
I will admit he's
Popular.
He's entertaining. He's popular. He's entertaining. I'm 64 years old, so he's not my genre of music. But I mean, I do have a pretty wide liking of music. But that isn't the point. The point is he's playing America's biggest sport, most dominant sport, I think, and he's been chosen. And so Goodell, he was being questioned yesterday or the day before, saying, well, "Do you have any regrets in asking Bad Bunny?" And Goodell, I mean, obviously he's liberal as well. He says, "No, I don't have any regrets."
You know, part of that may tie into our third section about Pat McAfee and his
Yeah.
comments about
Hmm.
old white guys. And
Yeah.
and remember this, college football has so much support from the youth, but also from adults of all ages who are alumni and who have children going to these schools.
Yeah.
But the NFL, I think Sam, I think you're an exception in how closely you follow the National Football League, and unless you're in a fantasy league, and I think actually there's more youth in fantasy leagues, but unless you're in a fantasy league, I don't think the 20 somethings and the 30 somethings are watching it the way they would like it to be watched. And I think that that may be part of what he's trying to do is skew to its audience. And then let's ask this question. What would you say about the NBA in terms of ages? Pretty good spread, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it more than any other sport tends to, whether it's done a good job or just happens,
Yeah,
skew towards the younger anymore
yeah,
because people like us look at the NBA. I think people like us look at the NBA and say that's not basketball.
right.
He just like the other night. Was it last night, Sammy, when somebody was calling a timeout? Tuesday night, it was, I forget who it was, but Kevin Durant in the Rockets game, at the end of the game, a very close game, double overtime with the Thunder, literally calls timeout, and they don't have any timeouts, and the refs just say, "Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be technical." And Chris Webber did it many decades ago in the Final Four. And so I'm saying all that to say this:
Right,
us older folks, we're traditional in that we play the game the way it's supposed to be played.
right.
The NBA has turned into a party
Run and gun and
and
part, yeah,
hip hop and all that. You watch their All-Star game stuff, it's like uh, one split second of that, I'm done. But that skews to a much younger male audience, although
right,
females too. But
right.
I think more minority audience than not.
Baseball skews old.
Yes,
Hockey, I think, spans the
probably.
generations.
Yeah.
So we got two skewing old, two skewing the
Well,
generations.
so if you're Roger Goodell and you say, you know what, George Strait for a 2-hour concert in College Station, Texas, at Kyle Field, 110,000 people can see that dude. All right. Why wouldn't he be a candidate to be on your halftime show? Now, whether or not Strait would do it, I don't know, but because they don't get very long. But but and that
Yeah,
appeals to. I mean, granted, you're not going to get Northeast young people listening to George Strait, but George
exactly.
Strait is a world-renowned king of country.
And yesterday's news.
Yeah. Huh?
And he's yesterday's
What do
news.
you mean?
I mean, what has he done lately?
Well, he has a show in Vegas. He did,
Right,
but he
doing.
has he tours.
I know,
I mean, he sells out everything.
but I'm saying he's not putting out new stuff.
Well, no, he's
That's
not.
all
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
when you got that many hits, you can just play what you got. But the point is, he brings eyeballs and puts butts in seats.
Right.
So Bad Bunny, particularly with what Charlie Kirk Turning Point's doing, what they're going to have their own, which will be Christian dominated. We'll see what happens for halftime. But Goodell says, nope, I didn't make a. What's he going to say? Yeah, I regret doing that now. What's he going to do about that? And the last thing I have with Cracker Barrel CEO, remember her, that 41-year-old
Yep.
young lady, uh, has, let's see, she noted that the move that they tried wasn't meant to be ideological. Uh-huh. Part of this transformation is setting up success for the long term. That didn't go over very well. They have essentially, we just talked about Goodell saying, no, I don't have any regrets. Of course, if he did, he wouldn't say it.
Right.
This, I do give her credit because she's
Right.
saying we made a mistake.
Sure.
She's not saying it that boldly, but that in essence, we made a mistake. We're going back to the old Cracker Barrel. Maybe some variations, but we're not going back to what caused
But
us
didn't she say
uproar.
that a while ago? I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, but I think this is more in depth
Yeah.
and more about her reasoning and all that
Okay.
sort of thing. So I just thought you all would like to hear that. All right, transgenderism. So I know the numbers have changed a little bit because this is about a year old, but a year ago I did some research and found that roughly 1.6 million people in a country of 330 million people identify as being transgender. The percent that represents is 0.00000 something. Somewhere along the way, there's a real number that kicks in. So it's a very small faction of people who are, in many respects, or have been controlling the narrative. Transgenderism, however, is cratering quickly among young people. And when you hear that, without looking it up, if you just saw that in word association kind of thing, what would you say? Why is that? Why? It's an 18 to 22-year-olds is what we're talking about.
Oh, 18 to 22. I thought you were talking young.
No, 18 to 22-year-olds, young adults who who have been the most of the transgender has come from that age group. That now is cratering.
Well, as opposed to other parts of the LGBTQ spectrum, this is one where I do think that lesbians and gay men, they're essentially born that way. And I think in the trans situation, well, obviously you're not born that way. And so I think the same things that were causing them to make those choices have diminished. And so they're just rethinking it, and they're also saying to themselves, am I willing to go all the way with it?
Yeah, so I'm not of the mindset that says you're born gay or you're born straight. I think you develop those, in my opinion. But the with respect to transgenderism, obviously you're born with anatomical parts.
Yeah.
The Household Pulse, it's called, is the company that did this study. Data showed a decline in trans identification among 18 to 22-year-olds in 2024. They did the study July to September of 2024. And so they wanted to know exactly what is going on. And so, whenever the crowd, quote, the crowd is doing something, others want to follow the crowd. So following the crowd means that somebody's broken the barrier already. They're going to take the heat, so I'm just going to follow along. They're not the leader of it. And I think given the same thing kind of happened with George Floyd in a sense, that time frame, that all of that stuff in American society was compelled or provoked by George Floyd being killed at the hands of a cop. And so that was the barrier was broken by that, which meant the barrier was in your face racism, according to many. So the hype and the energy and the number of people who were likely to say, even me, I wrote a column that said George Floyd was murdered straight up.
Right.
So that opened the floodgates, and in came millions and millions and millions of people. That has softened now, and there's still some that believe the same thing as it did then, but that has softened now. I think transgenderism came into American society much the same way. Wasn't provoked or compelled by a murder, but something we don't know what it is unless you can remember, but something turned the light switch on for transgenderism to become suddenly in this country an issue.
Well, I think it was in the media world, in the entertainment world, trans characters are very prevalent in movies. They're very prevalent in TV. They're very prevalent in print ads. And so that was the norm. That was normalizing it.
Right. Yeah, but that happened. We can't say it happened. We could say it happened gradually, but it happened
in the Biden era.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what we believe triggered transgenderism because I'm 64, Sammy's 21, you're a little bit, you're in my age range. So the prior to Biden era and it being a big deal the last 4 or 5 years, do you remember a time in history when transgenderism, did we ever even talk about transgender people?
No, and it goes back to support what I said in terms of um, when Biden came in and he had such strong entertainment area backings,
Yeah.
both in dollars and in people and endorsements, and then it just uh, it just seemed like the thing to do for the entertainment industry to beef it up that way.
Yeah.
And
So if you see somebody in Hollywood, if you're of that age, formidable years, we'd say, still developing your life's approach, purpose, whatever, and you see Hollywood, which Hollywood consists of uh, would-be idols and icons for the young people. And so you see it in Hollywood, you're going to say, well, maybe, it's okay for me to do it, right? So I think you're exactly right about that. Uh, this says identifying as transgender then declined after this period of years, especially for those born in 2005 and 2006 who are now 18 to 20 years old. There are several theories as to why this is happening. One possibility is changes in acceptance. As acceptance, which we're talking about, the floodgates open, as acceptance increased, more young adults identified as transgender and or were willing to identify as transgender in a survey. So again, somebody broke the barrier. So I'm willing to, when questioned, yeah, I wouldn't have done it a year ago because it was so quiet. Somebody broke the barrier. Now I'm willing to say it. Um, and so that's one possibility. The other, there's a whole lot more in this story, and we don't have time to go through it. But I think it's an interesting evolution in American society, such that it's happened before with things. I mean, sad to say, we talked about this once before on 9/11 and 9/12 and 9/13, blah blah blah. America wanted to be a united country. We all had a similar anger.
mhm.
We all had a similar resolution
A
in mind.
mutual enemy.
Yeah, a mutual enemy, a similar resolution in mind. And so, at some point, though, I don't know when, yeah, I'd be interested in what you think, but at some point, whether it was 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, or now, that obviously, look at society today, is as fractured and divided as ever. That, that unison, that unity back on September the 12th, 2001 has faded. Um, that took a lot longer, but I think things like this tend to do the same thing.
Hmm.
Is they begin to fade. It becomes less popular. Remember when cupcakes? I owned a cupcake bakery in Flower Mound, Texas, a gourmet cupcake bakery. Eighth Wonder cupcakes. I mean, we loved it, and people loved it. But we opened it, and this is probably, I'd look back and say I probably shouldn't have. I should have been more intuitive, although cupcakes are still popular. But that was a craze during those years in 2008 and 9. Those It was a cupcake sprinkles came out,
Hmm.
the national chain, and we did it. And Flower Man loved it, but it's not the same hype anymore about cupcakes. Uh, so transgenderism is going the way of that.
So your patriotism question, I've been mulling it since you asked it, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't think we noticed it happening, and then it had happened, and I think possibly part of it had to do with 9/11 happened in whose era?
Yeah,
W-
Bush. Yeah,
W.
yeah,
Okay, and he was done in 2008, and Obama came in, and um, it suddenly became yesterday's news. You know what? That happened with the Republican administration, and they're gone, and it's a new world, and we're not focusing on it.
yeah. I mean, it's an interesting evolution. And what will now happen with the transgender community? I mean, we don't have an administration that's placating them like Biden. I mean, it was nauseating for me to observe. I happen to like glasses. I don't wear them in here because it's easier we're so close to things. I can see better without them. but I like my glasses. And I think glasses, like watches and shoes and jewelry and things of that nature, can be cool. It's,
Right.
I don't really have any vices in life. I do like fashion. That would be my vice. But, and so I was looking at some glasses that popped up the other day. I really liked them. And you can get glasses pretty inexpensive now. Um, and I saw another pair. And so I clicked on that to go look at them. And what was the person wearing them to showcase them was obviously transgender, had uh had more metal in his face and ears and nose and lips than you can imagine. And he was their model for these glasses, male glasses. But he was clearly, to me, transgender. That's the message I got. Tattooed up and what do you call it? Pierced up. And I thought, wow. And so for me, I'm like, uh, I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Boy, but glasses have really changed to the huge, haven't they?
They haven't.
Particularly on the ladies, particularly, not
Yeah.
so on the
Yeah, but these glasses were more, they were a style I would wear. Now I
yeah.
pushed the limit for my age group, but they even if they had been my style perfectly, I'd
Yeah.
have said, I'm not interested. So there you have it, transgenderism cratering in America. All right, let's talk about a progressive Bible. I know you've got some stuff on that, but let me set it up and Jeff can take it from here. Progressive Bible, we may have talked about this briefly the other day. I don't think we got into it much.
It was on our list and we didn't get to it.
Yeah.
That's what
So
happened.
there's a company that's producing, or people producing, a progressive Bible, particularly for children. And their whole point is, I'll just tell you, progressive publishers launch children's Bible stories with social justice, diversity themes. Our agenda is to teach young people a theology of love and justice that we don't have to unlearn. The biblical characters mostly look black and brown and caramel, however you want to say it. Uh, and it's okay to tell kids from the get-go some of these stories are about true people and things that really happened, and some of them are made up stories. What say you?
What say you? I hadn't had that to ponder in my thinking, but in my preparation, I said this to myself. Um, I asked Rita, how many Bibles do you have in the bookshelf? She said 6. I know I have 3, although one of them is now over here. Um, Give me a guess on how many translations of the Bible. Well, and let's also go back and say some versions of the Bible came from Latin and some came from Greek.
Yeah.
So those two you can get a little bit different in your translation.
And Hebrew too, I'd throw in there.
In
Yeah.
Hebrew,
Yeah.
okay. How many English translations of the Bible are there?
My first thing I think of is at least 20, but I'm sure there's probably more than that. How many?
What if I told you 450
Yeah.
to 900 if you count the revised versions?
Yeah.
How many languages has the Bible been translated into? More languages than I knew were languages.
Well, there's 183 countries in the world. I'm gonna say,
and many of them have multiple
I know I was gonna
languages.
say, so I know it's more than that, but I'll just say 200 for kicks and giggles.
776.
Yeah.
So we have to remember this. Okay, and what's considered the classic standard Bible?
King James version.
King
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
Okay, and I got a little
Thou and thee
and I got a little King James in a tiny little Bible.
yeah.
Okay, but Bible translations do change with the times, the languages of the time. Now, we've had this up here all year. This Good News for Modern Man.
Mhm.
Okay, this Good News for Modern Man came out in 1966. It was considered the first truly readable Bible, and at the same time, the Jerusalem Bible came out in 1966. I got it given to me. My brother inscribed this,
Mhm.
being from my parents for my 8th grade graduation, and these are livable, readable Bibles. And this Good News for Modern Man um, has illustrations in it, and it has 378 illustrations. Sam, can you pop that illustration page up? Oh, okay. I thought I was going to show. There's 378, and they're all simple, and you can see this is Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
the Pilate,
Yeah.
King of the Jews. You
Yeah.
can see the cross. And it became wildly popular because of its ability for people to be able to read it and understand it. So that's a long backdrop to say it doesn't surprise me one bit what you're talking about.
Yeah, well,
because 1966 seemed modern to me.
Yeah,
but
I think, the progressive, I haven't seen a progressive Bible, whatever they're going to call it. But when I read a description of it that says some of the stories are true and some aren't, every word of the Bible, if you're a Christian, you believe to be true and inspired by the word of
Right.
God. A Bible that was written over hundreds of years by different people, and is all. I mean, people talk about discrepancies and contradictions and that sort of thing. Not really. It's as factual a book to me as any other book I've ever read, and I think there's empirical proof of that. If we say
it's a history book.
If we say the Constitution, these people are saying you said it a little bit, but the Bible is the Bible. The Bible doesn't change over time. Lots of people want to make it change over time.
Right.
It's the same with the Constitution. The Constitution was written in 1776, and so it has stood the test of time, just like the Bible has. But as we evolve as a society, whether it be a political aspect of our society or spiritual or DEI or whatever, these motivations of these groups become far more aggressive. So you have a group here that's obviously hung up on DEI stuff and inclusion and relativism, which means a church that welcomes in everything. If you're an axe murderer and you're transgender and you're a cocaine addict and blah blah blah, and you have no desire to repent, churches of relativism say welcome. Well, I mean, in some ways you should be welcome, but my point is that not when you take the Bible and you take parts out, or you manipulate other parts to say, oh, that's not really what it says. That's a real problem. And so we have we have people in society in our country today who are looking at young people. We just talked about transgenderism. This is younger. We're talking about aiming your message at young people so as to shape their thinking with a progressive Bible that is going to to me, it's obvious it's going to distort the messages. It's going to include things that don't exist, and it's going to lie about things that do exist. And
we can't comment on that really till we see it.
Well, yeah, but that's what this is about. The guy says it's about social justice and diversity.
But you know what? The Bible is about social justice.
It is. It's very clear about it.
It might be the biggest theme of the whole Bible.
Yeah, Lewis says the book also highlights women in Jesus' ministry and portrays Jesus as a feminist. Okay.
He was a strong supporter of women.
Yeah, but that's when you think of feminists, what do you think of? Who do you think of?
I think of
Gloria Steinem.
Well, I think of the suffragettes in 1922. Right. Don't let that throw you off on Today in History, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So when the guy talking about his Bible says, when Shannon, whoever that is, I think it's a partner, and I say we don't want children to learn something they have to unlearn. We don't want them to learn patriarchy from this story Bible. We noticed a gap in the marketplace for people who are looking for a more open-minded Bible for progressive Christians, one that is focused on love and justice. I
do like that part. I do like that part.
Yeah, but the challenge for me is that I'm willing to bet that when we get that in our hands, it's not going to sound much like the Bible.
Right. So because the whole thing about all these different translations, okay, more readable, terrific. Same story, yes. Same. Yeah. King James. I mean, the stories didn't change.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Message is a Bible version translation called the Message, and it's more reading like a novel. Mm-hmm. And most of it I enjoy because it is easier to read than the thou. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there you have it. We're going to follow this whenever it comes out. If it hasn't already, we'll get our hands on it, and then we'll have another segment about it. It's some things I skipped over. I want to talk. We're running out of time, which is usually the case.
Pat McAfee, your boy.
Let's, yeah. You want to talk about Pat McAfee, or you want to talk about the White House?
I'll sum up Pat McAfee.
Well, it's longer.
No, it's short.
No, for me, it's longer.
Much ado about nothing, and it's all about sound bites. That's my short answer.
Yeah, but what I want to talk about is Pat McAfee being a man. I don't know how old he is, but I'm guessing is in his 40s. Rips old white people at ESPN and says college game day is a joke. And the people, yeah, but he's talking about what's going on, his role in college game day, and the resistance he's getting from a company that is as woke gets, and how that's playing out in both ratings, uh, in society, and so on and so forth. So let's skip it. I want to come back to it because for me, it's a deeper conversation than just about Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, as I mentioned to you in prep, I like him, but he can be a little obnoxious, if not a lot obnoxious. But he's also giving a ton of his money to make game day really exciting. Matter of fact, that field goal that they do, where a kid the other day won $400,000 for making a 30-something yard field goal, a random kid in the crowd. That's all generated by things that Pat McAfee is making happen.
And did one of the big things that they did, tell me, 3, 4, 5 years ago, when they instead of being in a set studio, they start taking game day from campus to campus to like the hottest
Yeah,
game.
they have been
Are they
doing
still
that for a
doing that?
number of years. Yeah. And so like
Yeah.
this weekend for the
But
first
not
time,
forever. Less than 10.
they've been maybe a little longer than that, not much. But they are going for maybe the first time ever. You know where they are this Saturday? Vanderbilt, Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. So Vanderbilt has been the doghouse, or not even the doghouse. It's been the outhouse of the SEC and of football in general, where smart kids go and stuff like that. And
But it's
now,
rallied a lot in recent years,
oh yeah,
right?
well, in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But they're going to be at Vanderbilt this Saturday, and Pat McAfee took the place of Corso. Who are they playing? I did know Missouri. I think Missouri. So anyway, we'll talk
This
more about that
picture,
later.
this guy is the dippiest looking thing I've ever seen.
That guy is on Outkick, which is much like what we do, and he is really, really direct out there. I don't always agree with him, but he says what he needs to say.
He's got his shades over his bifocals.
Yes,
dude. If you need bifocals, and you want, there's such a thing as prescription sunglasses.
He's being funny. I happen to like him, but he's out there for sure. Zach Dean is his name. All right, let's talk briefly before we get to our usual stuff. Trump is remodeling the White House, and the left, you talking about in a tizzy. They don't know what to do with themselves. So before I tell you the facts, when you heard, and Sammy, you can weigh in too if you want to, when you heard that Trump was putting in a ballroom on where the East Wing is, what did you think?
The first thing I thought is, how many nights a year or events a year are going to happen in this ballroom?
Well, a lot more now. You can't have the way they do it now, the way Obama did it, and Biden, to the extent that he did it, was they brought in massive tents, and the tents were put on the only space available to them 100 yards away from the White House. So these events were dealt with the climate, and they weren't convenient, and it was put up, take down, put up, take down. So you're not, look, if all we have is an old shack,
Right.
we're probably not going to have that many people over. But if we suddenly buy a mansion, we're going to have people over a lot. Same kind of thing.
We had a green room though, didn't we? And that was,
I don't know.
I mean, we had a ball. We had a ball. We had
no,
a room.
we don't have a ball. We don't have a. We have a room where you can do fancy, really elite stuff. But to have a ball, the size that we're talking about here, the tents have been used.
Be 1,000 people there.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's the fact that it's coming from his money and other people's money, and the fact that you got a long list of different remodels over the years,
Yeah.
and so again, it's much ado about nothing. But I don't know that it's going to be used enough, really.
Well, I think well under Trump it's going to be used enough. That dude will have balls all the time. He loves them. The White House is exempt from a rule that says you can't do anything to uh, historic buildings, like the White House,
Right.
the Supreme Court and places like that, Capitol. Uh, but the left is literally having a meltdown over Trump supposedly destroying the White House. Well, first of all, Sammy, can you put up the picture of this one, the showing that one?
Yeah.
Sammy's going to show you a picture, and I want to tell you what that picture is of. And you got it up? So that, the picture you see in front of you is when Harry Truman renovated the White House, which took about 4 years, and just say 1950. It actually started 1948 to 1952. But what you see there, I mean, although whoever posted it said that's Obama's
Yeah.
doing for the basketball court, that's not true.
Oh.
That is when Truman got a hold of the White House and wanted to renovate it. So uh, Teddy Roosevelt built the West Wing. Sammy, put up the other picture. I'll show them the diagram. So is it up?
Yeah.
So to the far left, you can see the West Wing way over where it goes from a kind of a pinkish beige looking rooftop to a white or gray rooftop. That's the West Wing. You got the South Lawn. You hear about that often. I've been inside the White House, really enjoyed it for a dinner and got to see tour the main residence area, not the residence, but the main building there. But I came in from the other side of what you see here. If you look to the far right, that's the East Wing. What you see there circled is the part of what's being renovated and being torn down right now. So that's where that part of the grounds will have this ball. FDR built a swimming pool when he added the East Wing. Obama added a basketball court on top of tennis courts. All right, so that really wasn't I mean,
Right.
that's a resurfacing and putting up a couple of things, I
Yeah.
guess, but maybe not.
It's multi-using.
Nixon built a bowling alley. Last year, it was reported the government rented several large tents for large gatherings costing over $1 million. All the items were paid by tax dollars. Trump is adding a ballroom paid for by his own money and the private donations. So when we hear Hillary Clinton out there screeching about it's your house and he's tearing it up, I mean, the last person that ought to be talking about that should be Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton uh, absconded stuff from the White House. Yeah, something. Hillary Clinton should be the last one talking about what she did in the
Yeah.
White House, particularly with
And
her
what
husband.
it really comes down to is just the whole thing. Have we ever had a show in the last in 2025 where we didn't talk about the Democrats being hurt and
melting
and
down.
so anything Trump does is automatically bad.
Yeah.
That's
All
the
right.
answer
That's
there.
so. With rhyme time, what do we got?
Prime time. Oh my gosh, this one tore my heart out to write this thing. I wrote this uh, on October 24th, 2020, the day after Jerry Jeff Walker died. And here we go. It's called
let's hear it.
Playing in Heaven. It's one of my all-time favorites. Off to college in 73, going to climb the learning tree. Faked my way to a 2.7 GPA and was exposed to music I still love today. 2020 has been tough, most would say. Now, three of my favorites have this year passed away. First, the great John Prine, a songwriter ever so fine. Then, Big Charlie D, never a better fiddler will you see. Now, Jerry Jeff Walker joins this list. Like John and Charlie, he'll be greatly missed. All three performed a mighty long time, but it's by their attitude that they'll all be defined. A little bit of rebel, a little bit an outlaw. They called the shots however they saw. They all could sing, they all could pick. I sing their songs by heart. They wrote lyrics that just stick. They're known as musicians. I regard them as poets. They inspired me to tell it however I know it. So, R.I.P. the three great men. A damn fine trio now plays in heaven.
Very good. That was October 24th, 2020.
Yep.
Yep, 5 years ago. Wow.
Mm.
All right. What do we got for day in history?
Today in history is, of course, October 23rd. And we open with today in history. An estimated 25,000 women marched in New York City in support of women's suffrage.
1920.
1940.
I guess 22. The answer was 15.
Y'all got
1915.
it.
Got
Yeah.
it.
And 22 was the big, but I didn't know they were really beefing it up 7 years before that. Here we go. The Battle of Latagal, the largest naval battle in World War II, resulted in a major Allied victory against the Japanese forces, paving the way for the retaking of the Philippines, which were a territory of ours. And now, ever since then, they have been again. Good job, Sharon.
I don't think that's a year, Sharon.
We'll give her.
Good Lord, that's a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Pick your favorite.
I say to this one, 1943.
I'll go 1939.
44.
Okay.
Man, still got it, Sam.
I got bonus. A student-sparked revolt against Hungary's communist rule began as the revolution spread. Soviet forces entered the country, ending the uprising on November 4th.
56.
66.
The bonus is in effect.
Booyah.
Wow.
Good job.
Wow. Cheating.
241 U.S. service members, most of them Marines, were killed in a suicide bombing at the U.S. Marine Center barracks in Beirut International Airport in Lebanon, while a near simultaneous attack on French barracks in Beirut killed 58 paratroopers. And I am ashamed.
You didn't know the year?
Well,
I think I know the year. Go ahead, Sam.
1981.
Close. I say 83.
83 again is the bonus is in
Wow.
effect. I had 77, so I was still there. Here we go. 23 people were killed in an explosion at a Phillips Petroleum chemical complex in Pasadena, Texas, down on the Gulf. Gulf of Pasadena, south of Houston.
95.
2007.
89.
Ah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sarah was close.
The bonus is in effect for this one on not just the year.
Is this the last one?
No, we got
Okay.
one more after that.
All right.
A Houston jury convicted Yolanda Saldivar
Yep.
of murdering Tejano singer blank. Saldivar was sentenced to life in prison.
Singer?
A great Latin singer.
I think
Latin singer?
so.
I mean, she was revered, absolutely revered, and tragically young. I mean,
Selena.
Selena for the bonus.
What?
I've gotten 3 bonuses
I got
today.
yeah.
And what year?
Well,
Was
you,
she killed?
You tell me.
Yeah.
2007.
2004.
1995.
What?
Oh, we both missed it. Man, that was older.
Dang.
All right.
And we close with Chechen, Chechen rebels stormed a Moscow theater and took about 800 hostages, demanding that the Russian forces withdraw from Chechnya. Russian special forces raided the theater on October 26. Most of the rebels and 120 hostages were killed.
2003.
2000,
2023.
2018.
2002.
Oh my
You
goodness.
should stay with 2003.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, yeah, you
All
talked
right.
yourself out of that.
That was we didn't have any more recent ones.
What'd you get?
5, 6, 7, 8, 8 and 3.
8 and 3.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, very good. So our well, let me finish before I get to the sponsor. So in the coming days, we're going to have, at least I am going to have a video or two to talk more specifically about what's going on in Waxahachie with respect to our city council. I've dubbed the three members of council, Travis Smith, Trace Atkins, and Billy Wallace, as the Waxahachie Wrecking Crew. Largely, and it really is not about, I mean, what happened to the Sun and them voting out of vengeance and retribution and all anger is a symptom of a bigger problem. So I don't want to dwell on the Sun because I don't want to be that self-serving. we'll deal with that and get through it. But I think some things have been going on. It's exposing them for immaturity, for not knowing what they're talking about, for their behaviors at council. Just like the other night, Travis has to berate somebody who gets up before the person even gets up and speaks. Things like that got to stop. And so people that are asking me to bring us closer, unite us. To unite us, we got to address the hardcore issues. And so that's what I'm going to do. So we'll be talking more about that. Travis Smith's running for county judge, and there's no way in this world that Travis Smith is qualified, both with respect to maturation and experience. And so we're going to address that.
And it's not a requirement, but we do like our judges to have a little legal background. And you know what? We kind of like them to be graduated from college.
Well, I don't know. I don't know all about Travis's background with respect to college, but I do want to talk about what we need at the county level. What we saw happen at the city council level when you get mad at an entity, whether it's the media or anybody else, and then you vote to harm that entity. That kind of disposition and approach cannot work at any level of government. So we're going to be talking about that. All right, our show is brought to you by Hooser Custom Meats, HOOSER custommeats.com. Go to that site. You will find all kinds of wonderful meats, very good meat, and very many different styles. Great for the holidays. Their phone number, 903-688-1446, 903-688-1446, HooserCustomMeats.com. We also have tickets available for Scarborough Hollow for the fall season, Thanksgiving, all that stuff. So reach out to us and we'll be happy to give you tickets.
Is almost in the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse because they're just down the road in Italy, Texas.
All right, one last thing. We're running a little long here, but I can't skip this thing.
We love it too much.
What is true or false? True or false, boys? Major League Baseball uses about 900,000 baseballs every season. True or false?
How many?
900,000.
False.
162 games, 30 teams. I think is low.
True or false?
Every season?
Just Major League Baseball uses about 900,000 balls every season. True or false?
False.
The answer is true. Damn. According to the league's best estimate anyway, 900,000 baseballs. And as many times as that catcher, I mean, if a blade of grass hits the ball, they throw it off to the side. So there you have it. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back next Tuesday, me and Sambo, and we look forward to seeing you then. Jeffrey.
We hope you have a nice day, and please try to put a smile on somebody's face today.